Hi everyone, I'm Christy Forsyth with Clarity by Christy. I am a soul therapist and an intuitive that connects with the angelic energy, and I help the helpers, the healers, and the light bringers of this world to live their most magical life. We are going to be diving into the weekly energy. So this is my weekly energy reading where we talk about what's going on in the energy, what to expect in the energy, what angel messages do I have for you about this energy, and basically, this is your cheat code to the week. This is a way for you to connect with what's happening in the energy and to make the most of what to expect here in this energy. So first of all, Mercury retrograde strikes again. I kept trying to make my camera go sideways because I just like it better sideways. That's what I'm used to. And I could not get it to do that. So, issues with technology. We're having issues with technology. I have felt like during this Mercury retrograde that is especially true. I'm watching all kinds of issues with technology, and like every TV in my house has had an issue, everything. It's a pain. But what we have to keep in mind in this energy is that not everything is going to go according to plan. In fact, I would almost expect things to not go according to plan. I would almost expect things to go wrong and give yourself some extra time. And I don't mean expect things to go wrong in the way of it's just everything's going to shit and it's just gonna suck, right? That's not what I mean. But what I mean is give yourself some extra time, give yourself some extra space, and most importantly, let yourself flow with it. Because if it's going wrong, if it's not working out, if it's not happening, it's for a reason. I have been saying in these weeklies, we are being redirected so much more quickly these days. So if something is getting started and falling apart before it even truly gets started, or you think that an opportunity is coming your way and then all of a sudden the opportunity isn't happening, know that is that redirection, because we don't have time for this stuff anymore. We don't have time to invest years into a job that is going to suck just as much as the one that we already have, just to learn the same lesson, right? We've learned a lot of lessons. We've grown in a lot of ways. I don't know where to look. I'm sorry. I don't like the camera like this. We've grown a lot, and so because of that, there's that redirection. But I think that people are feeling frustrated with some things not moving forward, with some things not happening. But know that is God's protection, right? Redirection is God's protection, and we're getting way more of that these days. So it's either not the right circumstance, it's not the right timing, whatever. So I do want to acknowledge that Venus has gone direct. So this is really wonderful. This was impacting us in terms of needing to work on, reflect in the areas of relationships, in the areas of finances, maybe connected with beauty in some way, or the way that we look in some way, that kind of stuff, right? Maybe in regard to our passion and maybe where we need to learn how to balance or temper that. So many lessons being learned. Part of the challenge is it has just gone direct. Today is the 5th. It went direct on the 3rd, in the nighttime on the 3rd. So it's just waking up. And I think that that's important to acknowledge, because we're still kind of waking up from this energy, and there's still these leftovers from that. We're still doing a lot of reflecting. And we also have to keep in mind that Mercury is in retrograde too. We have some other planets in retrograde as well, but these are the ones that are, in my opinion, impacting us the most right now. So we've got all of that happening, and these energies have a way of bringing our stuff to the surface, of bringing our stuff up for us to deal with, whatever needs to be healed, whatever needs to be worked on. It is helping us with that. It might not feel like help. It might feel like a pain in the butt, but it is helping us. So we want to keep that in mind. And it's helpful to take a look at, what am I working on? What patterns are showing up for me? What am I healing right now? What is coming up for me? I've been really surprised through this Venus retrograde and also in this Mercury retrograde, the layers at which I've been working through things, going back and working through some old stuff, looking at it from lots of different perspectives, lots of different layers. And that is the collective work that we're doing right now. There's like these layers, right? Because it's like, if I can clear these things out, if I can work through these things, then I can step into my next chapter better, more clear, more healed, seeking better things for myself, understanding my values so that I know what I deserve. Part of the problem with this energy, though, is that it does feel heavy. And I think a lot of things feel heavy. But one thing that I'm noticing is that we're having this tendency to hold on to things that we don't need to be holding on to. Yes, heal. Yes, work through your stuff and let yourself feel your feelings. But at the same time, where are we holding things that we don't need to be holding? So, for example, where are we holding something for someone else or doing something for someone else when we know that it isn't serving us, it isn't helping us, there's not value in that? Where are we holding on to a grudge or anger or a situation from the past and just holding on to it with a death grip? And I called this video, if it feels too heavy, it's okay to put it down. I think this week we're going to be putting some things down, but we have to choose that. I've had a lot of people lately bring up with me that they are having people come into their world that are encouraging them, well, that are aggravating them, frankly. But how I have framed it is there's this encouragement, right? Because I think that we have people showing up in our experience that are harder for us to love, are more challenging for us to love. And I don't mean romantic love. I don't even mean friendship love. I mean God's love. I mean divine love, because that's really what we all came here to do. And that's hard for some people to hear, because it's like, what do you mean this person who has completely different beliefs from me is somebody that I can send the energy of love to? That's exactly what we're supposed to do. So I would look at the people that are pissing you off the most right now and send them light. That doesn't mean you have to be the friend. That doesn't even mean that you have to have a conversation with them, but simply the intention of sending light their way. Because frankly, a lot of these people need it. It helps to release you. It helps you in moving toward that forgiveness. And forgiveness is never about that other person. It's about setting us free. It's about letting us go from a situation that has kept us stuck. So I see us doing a lot of that. So if it feels too heavy, put it down and notice where you feel like you need to put things down. Notice where there needs to be a boundary. Notice where you need to say no to things. Notice where you maybe said yes to something, but now you need to say no to it. I've recognized for myself that there's been a lot of situations lately where I'm like irritated with past Christy for making the plans that she made. And not because I don't want to see people, I don't want to do things, but if I'm truly honest with myself right now, what I'm needing moving forward is just a little time and space to just reflect, to make the best use of Mercury retrograde. And I have overbooked myself too much through this retrograde. And now I'm starting to slow that down. Now I'm starting to make changes. I've canceled a bunch of appointments, not appointments with clients, but appointments with people that I was scheduled to see, where it's like, is that really a priority in my life? Not really right now. Right now, the priority is to go within. And so even things that were meant to feel healing or helpful just feel too heavy for me right now. I just need the time to be in my own energy, to listen to myself and to focus on this great discovery. I called last week's video The Great Discovery, right? Because what we're doing through working through all these layers is uncovering these things about ourselves. We're understanding ourselves more authentically. We are understanding what we want. And all of this is that preparation for mid-October when we're in eclipse season. There is a preparation. I don't know if you guys can feel it. Do you feel like you're being prepared for something? Because I do. So notice how you're feeling like you're being prepared. Notice your marching orders. Notice what you're being shown that you need to do, the steps that you need to take, but also notice where you need to just take some time to take care of yourself. This is a slow moving energy right now. It's kind of a skin crawly energy. That's my official term for it. Skin crawly energy, right? It's very uncomfortable, and I think like there is this part of us that wants to say, okay, let me just go do all the things, or stay really busy so that I'm distracting myself, or let me go fill this space with something that I know isn't really that meaningful, but it'll help with the discomfort. And I want to discourage that right now. I think that it's so important that we're sitting with it, because that is what has to happen here in this process, right? It's like we're uncovering these rules that we have for ourselves and recognizing where they no longer apply. So the rules that you have for yourself no longer apply, or some of them no longer apply. And so what rules no longer apply? And where did those rules come from in the first place? Did they come from somebody else? Did somebody else make the rules for you? Or are you making the rules for you? And what do your new rules look like? What do you want life to be? And it starts with setting this. It starts with us breaking out of the box that we have put ourselves in for far too long. This is breaking out of the box energy. And breaking out of the box energy is so uncomfortable because it requires us to get brutally honest with ourselves. It requires us to sit with our feelings. It requires us to set boundaries that our soul knows we need to set, but maybe our human is like, yeah, but our human wants to make excuses for it, or our human would prefer it because there's a comfort zone somewhere in there. So I think that it's so important for us to let ourselves be uncomfortable, and taking time for self-care and to honor ourselves and to slow down a bit so that it doesn't become too overwhelming. Because I think that if we don't do that, then it does become too overwhelming. Then it does become not just feeling our feelings, but being overwhelmed by our feelings. So what do I need right now? That's a beautiful question for us to be asking ourselves regularly and consistently. What do I need right now? Can we flow with, this is curveball energy. There are surprises, there are curveballs, and notice that I use the word surprises, right? Because it's not all like scary curveballs or bad curveballs. I think there's a lot of magic that's happening right now. I think there's a lot of things that are moving forward right now that are happening, but I think that some of these things that are happening are going not according to the plan that we had. And so we're feeling confused, it's feeling uncomfortable, it's feeling skin crawly, and can we just go with the flow? Can we trust in our higher power to lead us, to show us, and to guide us through the way? I think that whenever we say, I choose to surrender this, I choose to hand this up, I choose to trust in the bigger picture, even if I don't see that right now, that's gonna help to minimize this anxiety that we're probably feeling right now. I definitely, last night it was brutal, the energy. Lots of solar flare stuff happening right now too. I believe stuff with the Schumann resonance also going on. I haven't had a chance to check it, but those of you who are energy sensitive, which basically everybody who watches my videos is, pay attention to that stuff, because it's like, am I feeling anxious because I actually want to, I don't know, like reconnect with this person, or is it just a solar flare and my body is feeling anxious because it's responding to the energy? And can I just take a little time and feel it out and think it through? This isn't a great time to like dive in quickly with something. Take your time, feel it out. You're gonna feel confused. It's not going to be clear in every way until it is. We're preparing for eclipse season in October, and to me, that's going to be like turning the page to a new chapter. So if we're turning a page to a new chapter, how do we need to tie up loose ends? What loose ends are you feeling called to tie up? That's perfect Virgo season energy. Tie up loose ends, take care of things, focus on yourself, focus on your home, focus on bringing balance into your life. That's going to be really, really helpful. I think that also there's these, I talked about this last week, these pockets of loneliness that are happening. And I don't believe that these pockets of loneliness, in this energy, you are more at risk of revisiting relationships, connections that you already decided at one point in your life did not serve you, did not align. And I promise you that's not different. So can we take another look at that and say, why am I feeling lonely? A lot of times that loneliness comes from a lack of connection with Source, with God, with the universe. Where do I need to bump up my connection? Where do I need to bump up my spiritual connection, my spiritual practice, where do I need to honor my spirituality more? Maybe I was saying last week, like for me, I haven't been meditating as consistently as I was. I was doing that every single day. It's such an important part of my balance, and it's time to come back to that. And I'm very aware of that. I did want to read something to you guys because to me, it really captures this energy. So before I read it, I want to acknowledge part of what's happening with the energy, because to me, I saw this today. I shared it in my story. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, it's under @ChristyClarity. Follow me on Instagram. I share a lot of important stuff up in my stories that I don't necessarily share other places, but I shared this today, and it's all about that. It's called the burn, and it's about that in between. It's about that place where most people will give up, where most people will say, you know what, I'm so uncomfortable in this weight, even though my soul is guiding me, even though my soul is leading me in this direction, I'm so tired of waiting. I'm so frustrated. I'm so uncomfortable with what I'm feeling that I'm gonna give up. I'm gonna let go. And I think that that's true for a lot of people, and no judgment, because we all have free will decisions, free will choices. But there is a message to not give up. If your heart is calling for something, there's a message to honor those things that you feel are going to benefit you in some way. Don't quit before the magic happens, right? So I'm going to read this to you because it's just so perfectly said. So it's called The Burn, and it's written by Brandon Collinsworth. The Burn. The burn is the metaphorical resistance between where you are and where you want to be. Everybody can get to the burn, but that's where most stop. When it gets hard, when it gets challenging, when it gets tough, most opt out. When it gets tough, most opt out. They settle for comfort, they settle for easy, they settle for familiar, and life moves on. And for some, they lean in. They step into the fires of their own transformation. They forge forward into the alchemy of their potential. They surrender into an inner and outer metamorphosis. And by going where few dare to go, they are rewarded with the sacred gifts that are only reserved for the daring, the bold, and the courageous. You're called in this energy to be bold and daring and courageous and to keep going, because this is going to bring us to all of the magic, all of the things that we're creating. Sometimes we have to wait longer. Sometimes divine timing takes a long time. I'm really curious while I'm shuffling these cards, how are you guys doing? How are you feeling in this energy? Are you noticing any of these things showing up for you? What does that look like? Are you feeling that burn? And thinking about stopping, thinking about redirecting. Now, I'm not saying don't pivot, right? Sometimes we have to pivot. We have to work with the energy that's coming in. But if it's truly something that your soul is calling for, I'm going to make sure that we honor that. I always think about, what is that? What is the name of the book? It's a Napoleon Hill book. I'm totally forgetting that, but he tells the story about somebody who was digging gold, and he was digging for gold for a very long time. He tells the story way better than I do, but digging for gold for a very long time, and finally got to the point, even though on some level he knew that gold was there, he felt it, he quit, he gave up, and then someone else came in and started working in the same spot and found gold right on the other side of the wall. So he was so close. And that's the energy that I feel like. We're so close to so many things. So it's so important. Hi, Sheila. Nice to see you on here. Okay, here we go. Does that want to come out? Yes. Okay. All All right, we'll pull some cards. We'll see what the cards have to say, building on these messages that we already talked about. If you guys are watching this on my YouTube, this is a great time to subscribe. I would love to have you guys be with us. It's a great time to like this video, whether you're watching it on my Facebook or my YouTube. It's a really great way to support the channel. Or if you feel like there's somebody who needs to hear these messages, please share it. We all could use that encouragement, I feel like right now. Okay, I told you guys there's magic. I like pulling these cards. I used to pull them all in advance, but it's just fun to watch them unfold with you guys. Lily's saying that she's feeling that this is making so much sense. Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad that you're here too. I think that we all need to hear these things for sure. First card, 9 of Swords, right? What's the vibe you guys get from this card? A little rough, right? A little rough. Be mindful about what you're carrying that you don't need to be carrying, right? This to me is that energy of like, where am I worried about my friend's sister's husband when there's no value whatsoever in me worrying about anyone, because all it does is send shitty energy their way? Or where am I focused on an issue, a problem that probably a week from now, a month from now, even a day from now won't matter? This is a lot of times waking up at night and sleepless nights. I know a lot of people are having a hard time with sleeping right now. Can we be really mindful about just like taking some extra time to slow down before bed, to just slow down in life? Because I think we need it. I think we need the rest. Sheila's here live. She says she's usually sleeping because she works nights. Well, I'm so glad that you're here today. Welcome. The next card that we have here is the Knight of Swords in reverse. Be mindful about how we communicate with people right now. And in some ways, like it may be better to wait. You might not want to rush into something if you haven't balanced yourself out, if you haven't balanced out your emotions, or if you're just kind of like, remember I was saying like, this isn't a great time to just decide something immediately unless it's just something you know to the depths of you that your intuition is saying go for it, because of course then do that. But you don't have to rush, and you don't have to rush. This feels like specifically rushing a conversation. Give us some room to breathe is what I'm hearing. Take some time. Mercury retrograde is not great for communication. It's a tough time. We'll be done with Mercury retrograde on the 15th. So keep that in mind. That might be a better time, or just when this conversation organically happens, when what needs to be said organically is said. And I think that you'll see when you're paying attention, you get opportunities. You're being guided as to the timing of what needs to happen and when it needs to happen and what needs to be said. So pay attention to that. Don't force it. Don't force anything in this energy. In fact, I never recommend that. But Wheel of Fortune, we're making some big moves. We're making some big changes. We're doing some big work. So this isn't work that is just going to be like, oh my God, I'm working so hard on all this stuff and it's just going to be more of it. Sure, life has work. We are on a soul journey and we're always working on ourselves. So that will always be true. But there's value, right? This is a shift. This is a change. This is a moving into a later time. And I really feel like, especially as we get out a little bit further into September, we're going to start to see some of those shifts. I'm also hearing breaking point, right? But not necessarily in a bad way. It's like reaching our tolerance has been met. Like we're done with some things. And recognizing that it's time to change, it's time to shift. Maybe it's with ourselves even, but whatever we're changing, whatever we're working on, whatever we're doing is bringing really powerful shifts into our lives, into our thoughts, I'm hearing. So powerful shifts and luck, right? Like it's like the rest of this reading is pretty lucky. 6 of Cups, we might be in that nostalgic energy from Mercury retrograde, from the post shadow of Venus retrograde. Enjoy the nostalgia without getting too caught up in the past, right? If something came to an end for a reason, let it be ended, right? You can get nostalgic. You can revisit those feelings and those thoughts and those stories without necessarily needing to allow something to come back into your life. Now, that's different if something has healed, right? Maybe, usually this is connected with people, right? Maybe you had some kind of a falling out with someone, and everybody has done a lot of healing, everybody has done a lot of work, and it really is time to reconnect. So feel it out for yourself, of course, but also be mindful, right? If people aren't different, they're not different, and you're not going to get a different experience. So paying attention to actions is going to be really key here, because there's blessings, and these blessings, the Ace of Cups, I don't even know, maybe somebody can tell me, how many times have we pulled the Ace of Cups in the past 2 months in this weekly reading? I don't even know. We've pulled the Ace of Cups. We've also had the Four of Cups a lot, which is that fourth cup is meant to represent the Ace of Cups. Blessings coming in, opportunities coming in, love coming in, like new beginnings, right? But this is like I'm hearing like rumblings of something new, right? So I think maybe this week it won't be like all of this new stuff, but indications, signs that this stuff is coming in for us, or things that just fulfill us, and also looking at what does fulfill me, what does make my heart happy, you know, how can I live a little bit more, my life according to my rules. Remember, we talked about changing up the rules so that my heart, my soul, myself can be fulfilled and happy. And last card, Queen of Pentacles. There's a lot of success that's coming in. There's a lot of value, and this comes in the form of us now understanding our value. Where do I want to put my time? Where do I want to put my energy? We've been doing that assessment for a while now, and I think that we're really clear on it. And I think in this Virgo energy, it allows us to be more pragmatic about it, where it's like we're not so emotional in it. It's like, oh, nope, that doesn't serve me. I'm not going to put my time and my energy into that right now. And that's okay. That's okay. It's okay for you to set boundaries. It's okay for you to take time for yourself, to take time to heal and listen and balance and all the things. And I think through that, more blessings are coming in. This is like she's holding the giant coin, right? Blessings coming in, money coming in. I'm also feeling like signs or circumstances that happen that show you that you are so ridiculously supported by the universe, that God has your back all the time. And I've gotten so many signs for this, but I've also heard from a lot of clients these stories of like these unexpected things that have happened for them that make it that much better. And it came from out of the blue. And I feel like we're very much in this energy right now, and let it show you how divinely supported you are. Let it show you how this is all just an illusion, and whatever you need is going to flow to you. It already is. We just have to allow it. We just have to open our hearts and let it in. So those are your messages for this week. Let me know if they resonate in comments. I would love to hear from you guys. I see some of you guys commenting. Thank you so much. And again, if you're watching this on my YouTube, please subscribe. It means everything. It's helping to build a channel, and your support means so much. Please like this video. I always love to hear from you in comments. Share this video, whatever you feel called to do. Thank you guys so much. I will see you soon with another video. Take care.